the Columbia Lighthouse Project is a program at Columbia Medical School in New York City. And our job primarily is to help people learn how to assess risk for suicide. And the group was sort of developed around the Columbia Suicide Severity Rating Scale, which is a questionnaire that is the most evidence-based and proven effective way to ask people questions and the right questions to ask so that you can find out if somebody is at imminent risk and should go to the hospital. And so our program markets and gives out those questions to lots of different people who want to use it to ask the right questions to find out if someone's at risk. So we give it to schools, and we give it to law enforcement, and we give it to corrections programs, and we give it to hospitals and outpatient providers. You don't have to be a mental health provider to ask these kinds of questions, so we give them to lots of lay folks as well. I just recently did a workshop at Texas A&M University, and they brought in their student life folks, their dorm RAs, their coaches for their athletic teams, their school counselors, even, some students who are in student government and, are very active. Anybody can really learn how to ask these questions. And so the Lighthouse Project provides information about the questions, provides different tools for asking them. We do webinar training. You don't really have to be trained, but training is really helpful. And so there's online training, and we do some in-person training and workshops. But our sort of main purpose is getting the word out to as many people as possible that these are the questions to ask, and these are the answers that you should be really worried about. And you should, if these answers are yes, then that's when you should be taking somebody to an emergency room.
Wow, that's amazing. That's I'm so happy that you do that. That you guys do that.
Well, thank you.
So then I'm gonna be a little. I have a little question under that.
All right.
Do you really think that we can end suicide?
So I believe that that zero suicide should be our goal. It may not be possible to completely erase suicide, but I believe having a goal of zero suicide is something that's important. And I think that there are a number of proven effective ways to prevent suicide. The thing about suicide is that it's often a very impulsive act, and most people who are suicidal are also ambivalent about it. They, some days feel that they want to die, and some days feel that they don't. And so if you can slow down that impulsive act, a lot of times people will change their mind. So, we see time and time again that when, you make it a little bit harder for somebody who is, feeling depressed, make it a little harder for them to get a lethal means that they're thinking about using, it actually saves lives. It actually gives them a chance to rethink it. And most people, when they have some time to rethink it, do change their mind. And so, I think that the key to getting close to a world with zero suicide is really going to be getting people to talk about it, because there's still, such a stigma around, people talking about suicide. Yet we know that it's, that it's so common that, we know that, 1 out of 12 high school students every year will attempt suicide. And that's how common it is, but we aren't talking about it the way we should, like if it was any other kind of illness. And we need to learn to treat mental health the same way we treat any other type of health. The same way that you would get treatment for if you had diabetes is the same way you should be going and getting treatment if you have depression.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Thank you so much for that.
Mm-hmm.
My second question.
So the research that was done on it was done about 10 years ago when it was first developed, and the research really points to the fact that these questions are pretty ubiquitous when it comes to all different cultures and all different ages, that that we can use this same instrument in many different scenarios, and the research also showed that this was the closest thing that we had to being able to predict that somebody was going to make an attempt. We're never going to have a perfect way to predict somebody making an attempt, because there will be people who won't say anything when you ask them, or people who are looking for attention and may say yes to everything. But this is the sort of closest we've been able to get to having the proper questions to ask. I mean, the challenge is in getting it into everybody's hands.
Okay.
There are 6 of us here that are part of the Lighthouse Project, and I spend all my time reacting to requests that come in from all over the world, but we don't have the staff to go out and seek these opportunities to share the information with people, and or work with legislators on getting something like this into law, that people need to learn about it. And so the challenge is really in how far can we go?
My third question, I don't know if you're familiar with the journalist Michael Pollan.
Mm-hmm.
I read his book, How to Change Your Mind, What the New Science of Psychedelics Teaches Us About Consciousness, Dying, Addiction, Depression, and Transcendence. He highlights how there is a new resurgence in using psychedelics to rewire the default mode network in depressed persons, which could potentially lead to depression-free symptoms. What are your thoughts as a representative of the Columbia Lighthouse Project on alternative measures to heal / prevent depression?
Yeah, so there's actually some really interesting research that they're actually doing here at Columbia on the use of ketamine to reduce depressive symptoms, and it's looking to be quite effective for people who have tried lots of other things that haven't worked. So I think that there certainly are things out there that require the research to figure out how effective they are, and people who are being given ketamine for depression, are not taking it, like whenever they feel like it, or going out and getting it on their own. It's very, very, controlled and prescribed, and but it works. The research is showing that it works. So I think that that there, is definitely something, to be said for that class of drugs. One of the things that we're not hiring, at least not at the moment. We have a very sort of restricted budget that we have to work under, but one of the things that people who have interest in this do is they become sort of a champion for the cause in their local community. So organizing a community event to share the information. We can provide you with slides that you can use to do a training for people, and being sort of another set of boots on the ground in a community.
Mm-hmm. Are those protocol questions available online or free?
Yeah.
Or...
Yeah, they're all available for download from our website. But I'll send you some. I'll send them to you.